Welcome one and all to At the Helm. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to set up OBS to stream a game of, well, any game you want really, but this particularly is focusing on building the overlay for when we do our TTS, Tabletop Simulator, Star Trek Attack Wing games. Okay. If you're watching this video, please keep an eye out for the setting up a stream pack that I've made, and I would have put that in the stream support tab on the Discord channel. If you're watching this generally from YouTube, please check out the Discord channel, the Fremont Reformation, where we focus on the Star Trek Attack Wing tabletop game by WizKids. Do note they have recently brought out some new packs, so there's a bit more interest in the game at the moment at present. Always worth playing. So, today part 1, setting up the stream to stream. See? So, in front of you, you've got OBS that's set up. I've got it currently screaming just a empty table in Tabletop Simulator. Because the screen goes a bit weird if I do this, should be this one. No, it's fine. I've edited it so it doesn't. But you can't self-stream OBS because it just does a weird mirror thing. So you should be able to see me build stuff. Anyway, moving on. So first things first, in your pack, I'm going to take you over to the assets. So in your pack, you're going to have the Flight Club assets. That's the thumbnail that we do when we have Flight Club games. Fonts, in case you want some Star Trek based fonts, you need to install those, start the application you're using. Logos, I like to add these logos, it's pretty self-explanatory, helps promote the game, especially for those outside the channel. The important bit, the overlay bit, so you've got a generic black box, you can duplicate this several times, absolutely perfect for patching pieces up. And then you've got the overlay top section here, which we will be moving on to very shortly. And bear in mind, this can just be like a template and you can always build upon it yourself down the line. You don't have to stick to this formula. I mean, Jerry helped me set mine up. A lot of these assets have come from him, and then I've tweaked them in my own little way. It's very subtle in some cases, and in other cases quite different how Jerry does it. It's not a simple thing to stream, just so you all know. If you want something that's very modular and very customizable, you've got to have all these little elements everywhere, and you will see. And you can simplify it however you want to. But if you want to have all like the ship cards to the right here, then you're going to have to put work into it. The ship card, funnily enough, you've got a destroyed cover here, so you can put that over the ship card so it says destroyed. You'll see that in the streams when the ship gets destroyed. It's easy for communicating to the watcher, the spectator. You've got a master ship card. Don't override that, just copy that if you ever mess up your use me ship card. That way you've always got a base. And then you've got use me ship card, which is sort of this one here on the right. I've used a different one, but that's what it will look like. That card in of itself has all these layers here. Text. So this is changed from what Jerry gave me. I've simplified it, stripped it down. So you've got your text boxes. I'm using GIMP. I think it's General Image Manipulation Program. It's free. It's like a sort of a Photoshop. This is what I use. So I've redone everything. You can see it's clearly choosing all the numbers. Just highlight the numbers when you want to do something. So there we go. And you can change the number. Happy days. If you happen to delete the number, or text in some cases, it tends to get a little weird and goes back to its default of black. You can Control Z that to reset it. So what I don't generally do is I highlight it and go and then type it, and it keeps the font and colour. Happy days. Storing, don't matter about the spelling, you can just change that. Going further down, squad tokens, there's a hidden asset there, so if you ever got fighters, you can actually have those visible, the tokens, because they have different way that they play. Captain skill should flash in there. L cars, these are all the L cars assets of the card. As you can see, I'm making them disappear and appear. And it keeps going, attack shape, blah blah blah. Again, experiment with that. There you go, the background for these attack squadron tokens, which is why you didn't see a number earlier. Goes on and on and on. So let's close that because I like it nice and neat. We'll close that. Right, the ship silhouette. So lots of breakdowns. Generally at Fremont there's a trend of what certain ships get used, so not all the ship silhouettes are available. That is included in the file. I'll demonstrate now once I've got the right screen. Ship silhouettes, and basically you edit these. So these were done by Mr. OK, Nick Pennell. Excellent amount of effort. You can basically just cut the silhouette out of the ship if you haven't already got it in the file to the right here on this checklist. So say we want a sovereign class, we would highlight an Ivals, the Federation, open that up, find the Sovi, and then click it. There's all the other classes. Rinse and repeat for whatever ship you're doing it for. The hull, basically the more hull it's got, it will only ever, if you have a lower number selected, it will only ever show the lower number. Okay, there you go. That's a tweak I did from the Jerry file because I wanted it nice and solid. And the same concept for these shields. If I want none shields, I'll put an end bracket on. Should we put one hole for the end bracket there? And you know, the more shields you've got to get rid of the lower numbers. Okay. And then lastly, Starfield is the background of the card. Otherwise it's just see-through. And that is a ship card. And then what you'll do is you'll export that as a JPEG or a PNG file, and that will then go into the stream very shortly. But we're going to build that in a second. Okay, so that's GIMP. In terms of the layers, using it, you've got the tools. Hopefully experiment with this stuff. Like using a silhouette, for example. Right click, open with GIMP. That should open a new tab. Lovely. Clips. So we've got the circle one. And then what you do with that is you then float it. In the bottom right here, it'll say float and selection. You need to make that a new layer. That way you can then delete the old one. Hey! Happy days. Now what I simply do is go to colours. I think it's saturation. Yeah, there you go. Saturation to make it white, because that's typically how we do it. Control C to copy, and then paste, and then you can adjust the size. Like so. And then change the name, put it in ship silhouettes. So we're going to put Connie. It's a Federation ship typically, so we're going to put it in the Federation bit. Obviously you can neaten up the font and however the font is to you, it's a personal preference. I'm just rushing through it to make a point. And there you go, you have your silhouette. You can adjust its final position, whatever. But the thing is, you know how to do it now. When you've done all that and you're happy, you can go to export as. Mine's called Big Free because it's a different template I use, one that I built up. Choose the folder you want it to go to. So this is all my assets. Stream setup, we'll put it in the stream setup. Yep, export. Cool, so that ship card is now ready. We export the ship card and it automatically updates the ship card in OBS. So that's how I typically do mine. And then stream timer, which is this bad boy here. Very small file, but it's got it should have some instructions in there, but I'll have to make sure they go back in. But is it there? No, it's not it. Simply put, you choose a source for that, and it should be a text source. Again, I'll show you that, not a problem. This is how our screen's going to look. You don't have to have the game running in the background. If you don't, it'll look something like that. you'll still be able to build your display over it. But having the game running in the background makes it a bit easier for your spacings and how you want your camera set up. Okay, so to add an asset or a source, click the plus button at the bottom here, and we're going to add the top bar, which is an image file. So we'll put top bar, browse, stream setup pack, OBS overlay, top bar. There we go. Right, so there it is. So now we need to adjust it to fit the box. So you can hold shift and that will change a singular plane. If you just use the mouse, it will change the Y and the X axis. Whereas shift allows you just to change a single axis. And then alt is like the auto crop. Now typically it'll lock into place into a corner. And then I like to stretch it out. Ooh, it's a bit weird sometimes. Cool, and now I've got it generally where I want it. Shift, click and hold. I can adjust the size of it then. And then typically here I'll have the names in these black bits, the round number and the scores here. This is where I write my own text comes into it. Name Tuts 1. Player 1. Ready. Again, you can change the font by clicking font, looking for those Trek fonts. So you can change the color here, and changing the font size kind of comes with adjusting the box. So I typically go orange because it's quite a TNG color in my opinion. So again, changing that element. Right, so that's that. Let's do our ship card. Shippo card, tuts. Right, so that ship card we made earlier, that I've got to remember where I put it. I think I put it in this, here it goes, Big 3 I called it. There you go, little preview, open. Okay, lovely, so quickly shrink that down. And it typically locks, you see it's just snapping into place there. Okay, so shift, because I want to skip the board. There you go. Now these little padlock symbols, if you click them, you can't interact with the asset. But if you unclick it and click the asset itself, you get a red box. So you know exactly what it is you're messing around with. Control and Z undoes something and puts it back to previously, like you would when you're on Word or Paint or Excel, you know, and then Control and Y puts it back to how it was, so to speak. It's all relative. Very useful keys to use in case you move something by accident. And then the eyeballs hides and shows the asset. I should be saying source, but asset makes a lot more sense to me because they're my assets. Right, so you can rinse and repeat as many times with the card. You need to create a new source every time. So now your next question I hear is, how do I add background music? So your mic in the top here feeds through automatically. You can change its sensitivity with the advanced audio properties or where your source is coming from in the normal properties. Desktop audio is a default thing as well, so the music you're hearing is actually playing on my media player down here, not actually from the OBS itself. But normally when I'm streaming, I would stream music. So you go to your source, media source, let's put music, tuts for tutorial. You can have the speed at which it plays, but first let's actually load it up. So let's find some random music. So I use Kevin MacLeod from Incompetech because he's got royalty-free stuff as long as you put credits in the description. So leave it home. change the speed of the song. Boom, there you go. So you'll see it at the top there. Clicking that mutes it and unmutes it, but also it appears up here. So if I hide it, then again you can change the audio levels for it.